Hey everybody, this is Paul from This Way to the Aquarium. Hope you're doing great today. This video I want to talk about where I got cheap rocks for my aquariums back here. I basically purchased a bunch of river rocks from a local landscape store that ended up being much more cost effective, even cheaper than you would find in your big box hardware stores, and definitely cheaper than you'd find in your typical pet stores. In a typical pet store, you might be looking at like $2 to $3 a pound to purchase these rocks. I bought about 70 pounds worth of rocks in 2 different trips. And in a local aquarium store, that might run you anywhere from, even if you go on the low end, $2 a pound, you're looking at $140 there, $2 times 70 pounds of rock. And in this case, I got everything for about $30. So 70 pounds of rock for $30 is a great deal. And comparing to places like your big box stores, like your Home Depot and your Lowe's, I've seen these 30-pound bags of rocks that run anywhere from $30 to $35. Similar in size, similar in quality, you can use those in your aquarium too. So generally the rocks you want to use in your aquarium need to be aquarium safe. You don't want to use anything like limestone. Using rocks that are limestone based, you could run the risk of poisoning your tank. Basically the limestone leaches into the water, it affects the pH, and it can harm the chemistry of your tanks, which depending on your fish might not be beneficial for them. So you want rocks that are going to be neutral in general. Basically they're not affecting the pH, they're not adding any chemicals or minerals into the water that leaches off and changes your water chemistry and can cause all sorts of havoc. So the ones I bought are river rock. These are generally considered safe for your aquarium. They come in a bunch of different sizes, and based on the different size tanks I bought over here, I bought a couple of different sizes, and as I'll show you here in a few, they come in different colors as well too, which will make for great decorations in your tank. So let's take a look at these rocks. So here are the rocks here. As you can see, a bunch of different sizes, a bunch of different shapes, 70 pounds in total. Obviously haven't been cleaned yet. I'll quickly talk about cleaning them here in a few minutes. These rocks are river rocks, come from a variety of locations. This black one here is, I believe it's called a Mexican pebble rock or Mexican river rock. I forget the exact name. Presuming it comes from the country of Mexico, but I could be wrong on that. But regardless of where they come from, all these rocks are going to add a lot of color and personality to my tanks, and when set up properly too, you can even add some hiding places for your fish. Especially if you've got fish that are breeding in there, the fry will enjoy hiding in these little nooks and crannies if you set up the rocks. And even I randomly set these rocks here, not really even paying attention to how I was setting them up, not planning anything. But you can see there's a lot of different nooks and crannies in there that, when set up in a tank, will allow fry to kind of hide out and other fish to hide out in there. So these rocks will be cleaned up here. So these, I plan on cleaning all these rocks. As you can see, they haven't been cleaned yet. They're still a little dirty, dusty on them, and so they do need some initial prep. And I'll talk about the cleaning process here in a second. So these rocks were purchased from a local landscaping store over here. Basically, that's all they sell. They sell hardscapes, different kinds of pavers, different kinds of stones that you use for decorating in and around your house. The nice thing about these is they have a lot of different variety of rocks, especially like the ones I showed there, as well as the video here that I'm about to share. So these varieties, you get all sorts of different sizes. You get different shapes and different colors. So the sky's the limit. It's much cheaper than even going to your big box hardware store, like I mentioned, or even going to your local pet store. It's a great place to buy rocks for your aquariums. So when it comes to cleaning these rocks, the one thing I would not recommend is I would not recommend putting them in the oven. I would not recommend taking a blowtorch and running over it to sanitize it. Anytime you're using an oven or you're using a blowtorch or some sort of flame to sanitize those rocks, you run the risk of those rocks exploding. Basically, there could be water still in the rock, there could be air pockets in there, you heat everything up and suddenly you'll start getting the snap, crackle, pop. Those rocks can explode. If you happen to be close by, it'll send shrapnel out. It can injure you, injure anybody that's around you. So the best bet is don't use heat, don't stick it in the oven. My process involves using bleach and a little scrub brush to scrub it off in clean water, soak it in bleach for a little while, and then let it set on the side, either in the sun if the weather's permitting, put it out in the sun, and let that bleach evaporate. So this is a bottle of bleach I purchased from Amazon, nothing special. I was looking for it locally from some local stores. The problem was with the local store ones is they only had scented versions or that had added detergents in there. So you don't want any scents in your bleach. You don't want any added detergents in there because some of the detergents and some of the added scents in there could stay in the rock, and then once you put that rock in the aquarium, it will eventually leak into the aquarium, and that could cause havoc with your chemistry in the tank. It could even poison your tank too, which could harm your fish as well as harm your plants. So the best bet is to find a bleach that is just strictly bleach, no added scents and no added detergents. I couldn't find that locally, so I ended up buying it from Amazon. They had a pretty good deal on a couple of bottles like this here. And with that process, I'll basically, like I mentioned, I'll scrub these rocks with some warm water, put it in a clean bucket with water, add some bleach in there, let it soak overnight, take it out, and then let it dry out. The great thing about using bleach to clean your rocks is bleach contains chlorine. There's a chlorine product in there, and chlorine type products do evaporate much easier. And even if you have some chlorine left over in your rocks, when you put them in there, you put a dechlorinator in there. That's what we regularly do when we're doing our water changes. We add a dechlorinator in there. So any chlorine left in those rocks, guess what? Your dechlorinator takes care of that, locks it up. Eventually they'll evaporate out of the tank, and you don't have to worry about that. So hence using bleach to clean these rocks is probably the best method to get them cleaned and sanitized. Bleach is a great way to sanitize any germs or any bacteria still residing in that rock. Once it's done clean, put it in the tank. Add your dechlorinator as well. That'll take care of it. Anything that's left over, which there shouldn't be, and then you're good to go with your stone decorations. Certainly one can get free rocks and even free driftwood from a local river, from a local lake that you have. Assuming there's very little pollution in there, there's little contamination, you don't have any factories close by that happen to be discharging into the river or into the lake, or you're not close to a roadway where you got a lot of runoff from, oil leaks, other fluid leaks in the car. When it rains, it runs off into the water there. Could possibly contaminate those rocks. So that's not a place that I would recommend. I will do a video in the future where I explore a couple of local rivers around here, take a look at the driftwood and the rocks, and talk about the safety aspects of that. But for this video, going to your local hardscape store that are selling all these rocks, pavers, whatnot, check them out. In most cases, they're willing to sell by the pound because they just got ton of rocks, and a lot of people come and collect these rocks for a variety of reasons, whether for aquariums, for making a stone garden at their house, whatever the reason may be. They've got these rocks they're willing to sell you, but even if you need just a couple rocks, they're more than happy to sell you those rocks. It's a pretty quick and easy process. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this method. Where do you usually get your rocks? Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.